In a world that is constantly shifting, what does it take to thrive? The initial impact of our programs is often seen right away. A community has water, a child is in school, a mother can look for work. But when our investments are planted in places with strong leaders, powerful visions, and motivated community members, we see lasting change. 5, 10, 15 years later, that water project has built a new school. That child is now college educated and teaching the next generation. And that mother is inspiring other mothers to dream bigger and believe anything is possible. A seed can only thrive if it is planted in good soil and continually cared for. Just as our investments only have lasting impact when they are made in strong communities. The power to thrive lives within the community.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Harambee 2021. My name is Kate Ten Harmsel, and I serve as the CEO of the Humanity Share. Things might look a little different around here right now because we recently rebranded the organization in August of this year. And we are excited to be celebrating that change with you tonight at Harambee 2021. We are also excited that so many of you are joining us from all around the world. And so we want to know where you're calling in from. Let us know in the comments, and someone from our team will be there to welcome you. For those who are new here tonight, Humanity Share is a nonprofit working in East Africa, and we work hand in hand with East African communities to break cycles of poverty and build sustainable, equitable futures. Today, 734 million people live in extreme poverty, and the global pandemic, compounded by the climate crisis, is expected to push another 130 million people into extreme poverty by the end of this year. Poverty is incredibly complex, and our interventions must respond to that complexity. Over the last 14 years, we've developed a three-part strategy that addresses access to basic needs, a quality education, and a sustainable income. We invest in community-led initiatives that ensure that our investments are working alongside local leaders and are making lasting impact. As you just heard in the intro video, the power to thrive lives within the community. And tonight, we're excited to share 3 opportunities for you to invest in that will make lasting change in the lives of thousands of people. Tonight is our biggest event of the year. Harambee is Swahili for all pulled together. And tonight, we're asking you to pull together for 3 projects: a brand new clean water project, a sustainable agriculture project, and funding for our education program, specifically our University Scholarship Fund and our Girls Empowerment Conference. These projects have the ability to impact over 30,000 lives by the end of this year, and we need you to partner with us on them. Last year at Harambee, we fundraised over $65,000, which helped support programs this year, including a clean water project in Enkutoto, which brought clean water to 10,000 people this July, 5 university scholarships that were awarded and the girls went to university this year, and a sustainable agriculture project that we are preparing the land for now. This year, we are asking you to help us raise $100,000, which will fund our 3 programs. We know that that's a lot of money, but we know that we can do it. And to kick off our fundraising tonight, our board of directors has committed to matching the first $25,000 given starting right now. So throughout tonight, we'll be pulling up our fundraising page, and we encourage you to give throughout the event by using the live stream description or by texting THS to 44321. Now, let's get the event started. I am excited to introduce my co-host for the evening. He is our country director. He is a proud member of the Maasai tribe, an advocate for girls' and women's rights, a father to 7 and husband to Sheila. Please join me in welcoming Duncan Sakimpa.
Hello, Caitlin.
Hi, Duncan. Welcome. Thank you for joining so early in the morning.
Thank you. Good morning from Kenya, East Africa, and good evening, America. My name is Duncan Sakimpa, the country director, Humanity Share in Kenya. I'm indeed profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to be with you, partners, this evening, who have joined us hands in the last decade to address the complex issues of poverty. Thank you once again. Kenya, just like any other country in the globe, has not been spared by the COVID-19 pandemic. And ever since we reported the first case on March 2020, around 15th, life has never been the same again. Even though the number of fatalities in terms of deaths have not been very high, the issues surrounding socio-economic impact of the community has been affected so much. Jobs have been lost, livelihoods have been lost. So many markets closed during that time that affected the normal flow of goods and services within the community. But we are happy that tonight we are here and we are straight addressing the complex issues of poverty together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Duncan. So as I shared before, one of the projects we are fundraising for is our education program, and specifically our University Scholarship Fund and our Girls Empowerment Conference that we hope to hold at the end of this year, if the funding comes in. This year, we awarded 12 young scholars in Kenya a university scholarship, and they are studying everything from biology to chemistry and physics to gynecology and early childhood development. They are the future leaders of Kenya, and watching them grow from young teens into their passions as university students is one of the greatest joys that we get to experience. The first person that we're going to meet tonight is Pauline Yokabi. We met Pauline back in 2012 when she was just a freshman in high school with no way to pay her school fees and at risk of being kicked out. Both the determination of her mother alongside the generosity of one sponsor, who I believe is joining us tonight, Pauline was able to continue and graduate from high school, graduating #1 in North Pokot Sub-County. She then continued on to Egerton University, where she studied education with a focus in biology and chemistry. And Duncan, can you share with us a little bit, you've been to Pokot several times, can you share a little bit about what life is like for a girl in Pokot?
Thank you, Caroline. Life in Pokot is interesting. The Pokot community are a pastoralist community living on the northern side of Kenya, bordering bordering on the northwestern part of Kenya, bordering the Republic of Uganda. Their main source of livelihood is mainly livestock keeping, and they practice what we call nomadism. That's moving from one place to the other in search of pasture and water for their livestock whenever there is a dry spell. It's a community that is known to practice female genital mutilation, early marriages to the girls, and really has very little regard for the girl child education. And once a girl is about 14 years, if she has not gone to school, she would probably be married off as a second, third, fourth, or even fifth spouse to an older person. Teenage pregnancy is also very rampant in that particular community, and is a community that, when faced with a situation in most families on who to choose between the girl child and the male child, definitely they will choose the male child over the girl child. The trekking distances from home to some elementary schools is sometimes even about 10 kilometers one way. But tonight, we are privileged to introduce to one of our sponsorship beneficiaries who went to elementary school in Pokot, proceeded to go to high school in Alale Girls, worked so hard to complete her university education. And tonight we hear about her hard work and determination that is writing a different story in Pokot. Yeah, yes.
My presence here at Alale Girls means that you can come from this environment, go through many challenges and still make it to the university and back. It's possible for a girl from this community to reach where I've reached. My name is Pauline Nyokabi. I'm 24 years old, an alumni of Alale Girls Secondary School. I started at Alale Girls in Form 1, the year 2012. Then I studied here for 4 years, completed my secondary school in 2015. I was the best student in North Pokot sub-county. Then I got a chance to join Egerton University. In my high school, I was a beneficiary of the Humanity Share secondary school scholarship. Then when I joined Egerton University, I also benefited from the Humanity Share University scholarship. Yeah, at Egerton University, I took Bachelor of Education, Science, Biology and Chemistry.
Sponsoring of the girls in secondary school, the Humanity Share has done a very big role, and I'm proud to say that as I speak now, we have a girl that was sponsored by the Humanity Share from Form 1 to Form 4 through to the university, and she's now back mentoring the others who are able to see that education is important. That is Nyokabi, Pauline Nyokabi, teaching biology and chemistry in the school. Apart from Pauline Nyokabi, we also have Lydia Nafula and Nora, who are in the university, courtesy of Humanity Share team. So these girls, whenever they are in for their long holidays, they come to school to mentor the rest of the girls. That is a very, very big role played by the Humanity Share, because they made sure that they did not leave them on their way. The girls had to be supported up to the university level, and now Nyokabi is here. The girls really look up to her. She is their role model, and whenever they see her, they just think of the Humanity Share.
I was inspired by the fact that this place made me who I am today, and it's more of giving back to the community. That's why I came back here to help other girls to be able to realize their dreams and to actualize them. To the Humanity Share sponsors, I would like to say thank you, because what you are doing is really great. You are helping saving humanity by helping girls realize their dreams, especially girls from these communities where a girl is not supposed to be going to school, or a girl is not supposed to be invested on. I think that's a very good thing that you are doing. Personally, you really helped me, because my life right now, I don't know, I can't even picture it if it were not for the Humanity Share. You helped me realize that a girl can do more than just siring children, can be more than just a wife and a mother. a girl can be someone in the community who can be respected. You've also helped me to know my self-worth and to be an inspiration to other people, to be a role model, and yeah.
The presence of Pauline in Alale girls just confirms to us and underscores the importance of investing in girl child education. And again, despite the hard environment, girls can still make it, if given the necessary support. The presence of a strong mentor in the name of Principal Pamela, again, brings immense benefits to the lives of the girls and the learners. Again, we see Pauline coming back to Alale girls, this time now not as a student, but as a high school teacher who is qualified. Imagine going through the same school and getting back to the same school. She is again a role model in that particular environment, and so many girls are looking up to her and saying that, I want to be like Pauline Nyokabi. And, she has changed the narrative through her hard work and consistency in pursuing her dream. Imagine if Pauline did not get this opportunity, for high school education. At the age of 14 years old, she would probably have been married off to, as a second, third, fourth, or even fifth wife to an older person. Today, Pauline would have like maybe 5 or 6 children, because today Pauline is 24 years. And she would be probably struggling, going to, the gold mines of Naruoro, digging the mud all day, to get $50 or $25 to feed her children. Her children will, probably be all the time, unwell, sick. She will not have control over the number of children that she will get. And, the complex, vicious cycle of poverty will continue. But through your partnership and help, today, Pauline has changed the story. She is back as a high school teacher, not just to teach any subject, but science subjects, chemistry and biology. Imagine. She will be able to choose a partner of her choice, having married. She'll be able to choose the number of children that she will have. And, definitely her family will live a better life than if she did not go to school. That is what it means to have Pauline and educate a girl child. Yes.
Yeah, it's such a difference between a girl who's educated and a girl who's not, what their life is like. And like you said, it's amazing that she comes from this very rural place and has excelled at the sciences. A lot of the girls from that school have excelled in sciences. So tonight we need $15,000 for our education program. And this funding is going to be used to provide more university scholarships to girls like Pauline, and also to fund our Girls Empowerment Conference in December. Duncan, can you talk a little about the importance of this and also the importance of the timing of our Girls Empowerment Conference?
Yeah, thank you, Caitlin. And we envisage to make more Paulines, both in Pokot and in Kajiado. And this can be done through the annual Girls Conference, Mentorship Conference that, happens every December. Someone would ask, why December? It's December because normally on a normal academic calendar, December vacation is 2 months, about 8 or 9 weeks. And during this particular period, that is when, early marriage, female genital mutilation or CAT, happens, and a lot of teenage pregnancies. So this conference really brings all the girls together. It brings, speakers, motivational speakers, and other career guides who will guide the girls on which courses to choose, and those courses that are marketable to them, and those that also their academic capability can match them. And because of also the numerous cultural barriers that don't favor the girl child education, there is always need to focus again and put girls back on track to remind them that education is indeed the key to success Yes, and it also acts as a wake-up call to the girls, just in case they've forgotten to focus on their education. Tell them, hey, look here, you still have an education ahead of you. Make life better, and you have that particular opportunity. Thank you, Gail.
Yeah, teenagers are pretty much teenagers anywhere in the world, so it's good to have those reminders throughout the year. Our education program is not just about providing school fees to these girls, but also about mentoring them and providing counseling, career guidance, so that when they do graduate from high school, they're able to continue on and build a great life for themselves. Like you had said earlier, compete in the job market like Pauline is able to do now. So our education program, it is so important to the work we're doing. And since 2012, we've partnered with 2 girls' schools in West Pocahontas, Alale, where Pauline is from, and then St. Anne's. We're going to hear next from Pamela Oliech, who is the founding principal of Alale Girls School. And she's going to talk about the importance of the sustainable agriculture and dairy cow program that we invested in several years ago. I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago now. But before we hear from Pamela, let's pull up our fundraising page and see where we are at. So we have raised so far $21,371. So keep those donations coming in. As I said, as soon as we hit $45,000, we will be able to initiate that $25,000 match tonight. So we are hopeful that we're going to get there by the end of the evening. And now we're going to hear from Pamela from Alale Girls School.
Alale Girls Secondary School is a beneficiary of sponsorship from the Humanity Share Group. Following the challenges that the girls face in this school, the Humanity Share Group have made sure that the girls are in school by sponsoring them, paying their fees, and even shopping for their basic needs to ensure that they are comfortable in school. I'm Pamela Oliech, the principal, Alale Girls Secondary School. I'm the founder principal of a school that began in 2009 as a rescue center for girls who are trying to run away from female genital mutilation and early marriages. So far, it started with 6 girls, but so far the enrollment has increased since the Pokot have embraced education. The school is in an arid area and is faced by very many challenges. Now the girls are ready to learn. They've been rescued, but still we face the challenges of early marriages and early pregnancy because the Pokot still practice the retrogressive culture. So through the Humanity Share, in March 2017, the group was able to give the school a greenhouse, which has gone a long way to sustain the girls in school. You'll find that from this greenhouse, we planted vegetables like cabbages, which the girls use for their meals, and the surplus is sold to the community. From this surplus, at times, we are able to pay the people working in the greenhouse. That is, we have at least created employment for people, for the community members. So we are really grateful to the Humanity Share Group for at least educating the girls and at the same time also changing the community's perspective on farming, being a pastoral community. So we are no longer hungry in school. We don't go very far to look for vegetables. We just get them from our farm. The greenhouse also helps us in that during the holidays, we are able to employ or to at least give some of our girls work. They work in the greenhouse, and from the proceeds, they are able to get their basic needs as we pay them something little from the greenhouse. And in doing so, they also give back to the community by doing the same in their homes. Apart from the greenhouse farming, the Humanity Share also in 2018 were able to give us cows that provide us with milk. So there's plenty of milk in school, and this one also has gone a long way to at least enlighten the community about keeping this kind of animals, because they were used to the indigenous animals. They can now see that at least they can be able to keep a different breed of animals. So we thank the Humanity Share group for changing lives in Alale, and at the same time ensuring that there is food security in our school. The greenhouse will go a long way to feed us for a long time. So are the animals.
Pamela is one of the most powerful people I know. She's a tough lady. She's got to be running a girls' school in Pokot, but her story is so powerful. She's not from Pokot. She moved there to start this girls' school as a rescue center. And the first time I went to Pokot was in 2013, which was just 4 years after she started this school as a rescue center for the girls who were escaping child marriage. And now you look at the school and there's hundreds of students in there. I remember the first time that I went to Pokot, we had just gotten back, Duncan knows this story, we had just gotten back from visiting our other partner's school, and it was time for dinner. So we went to the restaurant that was in the village center and to order dinner. But we were told that there was no more food left. And I thought, okay, there's no food left in the restaurant. She'll go get some and we'll be able to eat. But we found out that there was no more food left in the entire community, and that we would have to wait until more food was trucked in the next day or two. So that night our team shared some Coca-Cola and some leftover fried dough balls called mandazi. And that was just the reality, that food ran out and the community had to wait until more food was brought in. But now, as you saw in that video, you look at this girls' school with the agriculture project, and there is so much food. The girls never have to wonder where their food is coming from or whether there will be food. And they're learning how to cultivate the land in a really dry environment with just a tiny amount of water, which is so important. As Pamela said, the girls that are working in the greenhouses are actually taking that skill set back to their homes and villages and replicating it at the household level, teaching their families how to also grow food in this climate. The two girls' schools have become really the leading force of development in this community. In a place where educating girls is still widely seen as a waste of resources, these girls' schools are showing the community how to live differently in the environment that they have. Pamela also talked about the importance of addressing poverty from multiple points. Duncan, can you share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, thank you so much, Caitlin. And Pamela basically highlights the three pillars on how we do our programs. That is the education program that we consider like the foundation on which the others sit on, sustainability and basic needs. Indeed, issues of poverty or complex issues of poverty cannot be addressed by a single entity, but they require a multifaceted, and partnership in order to address these issues. Again, she brings out the justification of continuing to deliberately invest on the girl child education. The sustainability part, through the agriculture project has brought immense benefits to that particular Pokot community. Besides, addressing issues of food security, it has brought in a new skill set and introduced a new livelihood, source, such that people who are traditionally stockkeepers have realized that indeed, if you till the soil, you can still also get, your daily bread from through green vegetables. It has created employment in that particular side of the world and, has ensured food security. The lesson we learn here in Kenya and East Africa is that we have perfect soils, perfect weather. All what we require is little water and a small skill here to trigger the already, some skills in the community in order to address to the challenges of, not having enough food in that particular community. But tonight we are fundraising for a sustainable agriculture project in Nkutoto village. Earlier this year, you witnessed, the community getting clean water. And, I looked at the excitement of the women and the elders in the community, and it was just at another level. They said life is back in the village, and indeed, water is life. Yes. What are the benefits that we are likely going to see in Nkutoto village once we have this sustainable agriculture project? One is that the women in the VSL, Village Savings and Loans Group, will be able to make their savings and, will be able to build their portfolios in order to get more savings and access more loans to do, to support the other children, through their education and in the provide other basic needs. It will also provide, food security in that particular community, ensure a steady supply of fresh vegetables into the community, because currently they have to, travel to a market, which is about 30 kilometers away to get, fresh produce. Surplus of the produce will also be sold, and, the income will go back to improve the household income base and, support the other members of the family. And today we ask you that join us to plant this seed that will sprout and will have immense benefits in this particular community. And, once we have that, we will achieve 100% impact in our program. Thank you.
Yeah, and in Nkutoto, we've already addressed the education and the basic needs. And this is really the last stage of our work in this community, is to bring sustainable agriculture. Last year at Harambee, we fundraised for a clean water project, as Duncan said, and on July 23rd of this year, you're seeing some footage right now of that project. 10,000 people accessed that water source for the first time. And now we're asking you to further that investment in this community. The Sustainable Agriculture Project costs about $25,000 and will support the existing women's group, as Duncan shared, by providing economic empowerment to 300 women and a reliable food source to the entire community. This also leads us into our last project that we are fundraising for tonight and our last story. The last project is our new water project. Water is our most basic human need, and yet 885 million people live in the world today without it. It's something that you and I probably don't think about very often when we go to get a glass of water or we take a shower. It's just so readily accessible here. So the next stories are coming from Kajiado, where Duncan is from, where his family lives, and where the Maasai tribe live. We're going to hear from two familiar faces, Elizabeth from Inkusiran, who we fundraised for her water project at the 6K in 2019 and finished that project in January of this year. And also from Mama Sam of Alamunyi, who we fundraised for at Harambee 2019. We're then going to meet two new partners who you have not yet met, Rebecca and Esther, who are from the Kajiado Town informal settlement, where they and 20,000 others are living without access to water today.
Wa nana gua ngure na na jase. Ore raina na kitejo rasho oleng kishukoki Enkai enashe tenkaraki erishata sidai naishoo yiok kira nkuseron ashu kira elerai. Shapa yiok Enkai omom nikitum enkare kishukoki Enkai enashe amu etareto yiok Enkai. Ore oshi enkare nikitodua ajo entoki sidai oshi teniterunyeki esiai metaa ketumi enkare. Ore tenakata enaa pee kitum eton tenakata itu epuo olari enkop nikitodua enkibelekenyata sapuk nayawua ena murua. Kitodua ore irmareita kintirring'ate ninye ore dii tenaripare ninye naa ninye naretito yiok intomonok. Etaa irip entoki ewiki tenkaraki etaa iyata duo erishata niripie. Etaa iyata erishata niton aripie nikuetie alo amirr. Netaa iyata erishata amu mokure apa akwet alo enkare alo aton tenkare tolapa kereri likipuo awosh. Nemokure areu nkishu enelakwa. Ore apa iltung'anak oolakwa tena murua neyawua naboisho sapuk oleng. Etoki apa ninche aisho yiok enaare nikintoki atoni enaa community. Neret yiok Enkai manoto naboisho ata nkanisani natii enewueji nikitaa apa entoki nabo. Etareto yiok Enkai. Kajo ore toorkulikae arin ooponu ibelekenye enakop oleng. Keeta eroruata sapuk amu kiata ndamunot sidan. Ekijo ore toormareita kajo nanu pairem enewueji napik endaa toonkolong'i naagira aaponu tenikitum iropiyiani. Neret yiok Enkai nikintayu indaiki metaa ata ninye mpuka mikintoki aapuo ntaoni. Neeku kitejo ashe oleng tenkaraki naboisho ninye amu kitaa nabo taata yiok ena murua irpayiani ontomonok. Neeku naa naitabaiki. Kijoki nkashumba ang' entasupa oleng. Kiata enchipai sapuk tenkaraki enkare, maendeleo apa naakita yiok enkare. Kigira aitumia enkare kigira aok. Mekure apa kinyamal pii. Eyaka apa yiok enkare naboisho toormareita o temurua. Kinoto apa osotua tenkaraki enaare nikinoto naboisho. Kigira ake aatoni nikiponu esaa sidai nikiyaki nkera enkurma, indaiki, nikitoni aaripisho toltinka mekure apa kiata enyamali. Kigira ake aayau enkare nikimirr enkare amiraki emurua ang'. Neeku naa keisidan imbaa. Neeku naa kinotito maendeleo kigira aaripisho kira ntomonok. Kiata sii mpango olchamba kigira aiteru airet.
This is Pastor John once again. I want to thank you so much. This far, we can say it's God who have taken us through. The community of Lomunyi, community of Inkutoto, community of Inguseron have benefited so much. Likely the women are the happier communities right now. They don't go far, but they get their water just right close to where they live. Thank you so much. Now we have a fourth community. This is Kajiado Township. This is a big town within our area. It's a cosmopolitan. Life is very difficult. They buy 20 liters of jerrycan at 50 Kenya shillings. It's just a tough place to live. They are persevering. It is my hope that as you have raised up the hope of these other interior communities, kindly and please consider AIC Kajiado Township. It's another place that needs your help. I pastor more than about 300 congregants there, congregation of a size of 300. It is important for me to see how they live every day. When they get water, I tell you life will be very simple. They cannot again use their money, which is now hard to get them due to the pandemic, and most of them lost their jobs, to get water. So thank you so much, and I'm praying for you and looking forward to the positive idea that will come from you. Thank you so much.
Kwa majina naitwa Esther Mwaneki. Mimi kama mkazi wa hapa Kajiado tuna changamoto ya mambo mengi. Hasa jambo ambalo limetukulia ngumu kabisa ni mambo ya maji. Maji imekuwa tatizo kubwa kwa muda wa miaka nyingi. Jambo la kwanza, ukitaka kupata maji lazima uwe na fedha. Mtungi moja ya lita 20 tunaipata kwa shilingi 50. na kwa wakati huu ambapo maisha ni magumu, kupata shilingi 50 na bado unahitaji kununua chakula ya watoto inakuwa gharama kubwa. Jambo la pili, wakati unataka kupata maji, tunatembea kwa kilomita nyingi sana. Na kama uko na kazi zingine ama watoto wadogo, inakuwa changamoto kubwa kabisa. Sasa maombi yangu nilikuwa ninaomba kama tunaweza pata mfadhili, kwanza kabisa mtukumbuke kwa maombi, sababu hii ni changamoto, si kwetu sisi peke yetu. Hasa tuseme Kajiado kwa jumla, hii ni shida kubwa sana. Kwa tunaomba kama tunaweza pata mfadhili atuchimbie borehole katika kanisa letu. Hiyo maji itatusaidia sana. Jambo la kwanza, tukipata hiyo maji kama wamama, tunaweza amua tufanye mambo madogo kama ya ukulima wa mboga. Wamama wengi hawajaajiriwa hapa kanisani. Kwa hivyo tutakapopata hiyo maji, tunaweza amua kufanya kilimo kidogo. Kanisa letu ni kubwa, tunaweza ongea na mchungaji wetu, atatupatia nafasi kama wamama, tuweze kulima, tukuze mboga, na hapo tutaweza kupata ajira. Jambo la pili, wakati tunatumia masaa mingi kwenda kutafuta maji, tukikuwa na uhakika maji tunapata kanisani, yale masaa ambayo tunatumia kwenda kutafuta maji, tutaingiza kwa shughuli zingine, na pia hapo tutaweza kufaidika.
Kwa majina naitwa Lapeka Nsuki, mimi ni mama ambaye nimeokoka. Sisi kama wakaaji wa township Kajiado tunakuwa na shida ya maji sana. Kwa kweli maji tunatoa mbali, na ile maji ambayo tunapata kwa bei ambaye ni ya juu, hasa wakati huu ambaye ni wa corona. Kwa kweli corona imetuangamiza sana, kama vile ambavyo mnaona mitungi ambayo tulio hapa inangoja mvua wakati inakuja inanyesha, ndio tunaweka hii maji mpaka ile mitungi kidogo, hata masufuria. Ni kwa sababu tuko na shida ya maji, na tukiweka hizo mitungi na hizo masufuria inatupatia na hata kukaa miezi mingine 3 tukipata hiyo mvua ya ambaye hiyo season nyingine inakuja. Hivyo tunaomba sana mkaweze kutusaidia tukaweze kupata maji. Tukipata maji hiyo itatusaidia sisi sana kama wamama, ni kwa sababu kama vile ambaye umeona hata huyu mtoto hajaweza kufuliwa nguo, ni kwa sababu ya shida ya maji. Hatuna pesa hata kidogo. Tukipata pesa tunanunua mitungi kama 2, na iwezi kupika, iwezi kufulia watoto nguo, iwezi kutufanyia kazi yetu kama wamama. Tunaomba sana Mungu atusaidie tuweze kupata maji.
The first time I watched that video, I was struck by one thing that Esther said. She said, if you want to have water, you must have money. Now, drilling a borehole is a huge initial investment. It costs us about $60,000 to drill 250 meters into the ground, equip the borehole with a solar-powered pump, and train the community on how to manage the resource well. But the return on that investment is so incredible. You think this project's going to impact 20,000 people. And so really it's only $3 per person to bring clean water to this community that will last for generations. Duncan, as a member of this community, you know these communities very well. Can you share a little about the comparison between what you saw in Mama Sam and Elizabeth's video or story and what you heard in Esther and Rebecca's?
Thank you so much, Caitlin. And indeed, when I also watched this video, there are 3 communities here, 2 rural communities and 1 informal settlement community. The 2 rural communities are in Kuseron and Olomunyi, whereby through your support, immense support, we've been able to provide them with clean water. And life has changed completely. And as they say, water is the beginning of everything. Elizabeth says that water is the beginning of life and meaningful development in any community. Mama Sam and Elizabeth come out with a lot of gratitude to share with us the immense benefits that the water project has brought. And, ranging from community, unity, family unity, and of course, having more time, to do what they like most, doing their bit work. Maasai women are known to, to do that. And Pastor again talks about the 3 communities and also compares the same thing, that there is a community that we've deliberately invested in, but there is 1 community that is an informal settlement, which is slightly different from, the rural setup, that that's different from a rural setup because it's an informal settlement and in more of an urban setup. Rebecca and Esther represent thousands of people living in the informal settlement, and all what they come out to talk about is the hardship, of not having clean water near you. Most of the people in the informal settlement, in this side of the third world country, survive on less than a dollar a day. And if the price of water is almost $50 to get a 20-liter jerrycan, you can imagine how life can become. Most of the people in the informal settlement are also from, is a cosmopolitan kind of setup. And people migrate from the rural areas to, the urban setup to look for employment or many jobs in order to survive. In the rural area, when there is no job, you move to the urban center in search of, a job that can earn you something in order for you to survive. And looking at the rural setup where we've invested, and today we ask you to partner with us to bring clean water to this particular community who are currently trekking for about 5 to 6 kilometers to get water, which is again expensive. Reduce that distance to less than 1 kilometer within the community church compound where we've already identified an aquifer. What is standing between us and the water is just the funding. And next time, hopefully at this particular moment, we will be talking, Esther and Rebecca will be talking of the reverse. They will be talking of the immense benefits that the clean water has brought, ranging from food security, and the community already has a plan on what to do when they get the water, to reverse so many other things that that are currently impacting their lives in a negative way. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've been to this informal settlement. I think we went there and visited in February of 2020, and it is so close to the local church where we've already identified an aquifer, as Duncan shared. So the only thing standing between this community and water is the funding. And as we said, it is just $3 per person to bring funding to this community. So you could pick any number that you want. And tonight it'll be doubled because of the match. So we're going to bring up the live tracker one more time and see where we're at. And it looks like we've raised so far $24,000. So still a ways to go, but this will be up for the next several days. I know many of you are still considering your gift. But tonight we've heard from several community members who are blazing new trails in each of their communities. This past year has been so hard on all of us. But through the hard, you guys have continued to show up and to continue to give what you have to do good in the world. And we have felt the impact of that generosity in each of our partner communities. So far this year, we've been able to impact 25,000 lives, mostly from the funding that we raised last year during Harambee. And we did that through 2 clean water projects that were finished in January and July. We did that through a sustainable agriculture project that is being actually, right, yesterday they were tilling the land for that. And through the university scholarship program, as well as our elementary, middle, and high school scholarships in both Ethiopia and in Kenya. With tonight's funding, we will be able to impact another 30,000 lives this year, which would be just an incredible, incredible gift to these communities. In the midst of so many challenges, there's hope, and it's because of leaders like Pamela and Pauline and Esther and Rebecca and Mama Sam and Elizabeth, who are taking our investments and growing them far beyond we could ever imagine. We don't have to sit here and accept these statistics around poverty. We don't have to say, oh, well, that's just the way it is. We actually have the opportunity to change those statistics tonight, so that Pauline's story is not something that's unique to West Pokot, but it is the story of every girl in Pokot. So that Elizabeth and Mama Sam's story of water is the story of every community member in Kajiado. We want to see everybody in Kajiado have access to a safe water source. And we want to see each of these communities, especially the women who are historically marginalized, be respected and valued members of their community. Through the sustainable agriculture projects, you're giving the women a new skill set, and you're providing food security to the community. You're giving them a role where they're needed and that their leadership can grow. And all of that is made possible with the funding that we raise here in the States, and of course, the leadership of all of these people over in Kenya. none of it is possible without our leaders in Kenya. So I know many of you are still considering your gift tonight, and whether you've given tonight or not already, I want to ask you if you can stretch that. Can you go a little further? Can you push yourself to be a little uncomfortable? This work is incredibly difficult. It takes a lot out of each of us. But as we saw tonight, it's so worth it. Thousands of lives get impacted. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Before we sign off, I'm going to let Duncan share the final words with you.
Thank you so much, Caitlin, and thank you so much, all the folks who've joined us tonight, and the stories we've shared with you this night are just but a few of the many stories that show the transformation that is happening in our East African communities. This has been made possible through your immense support. And tonight, we again ask you to partner with us to reverse, the complex cycles and complexities of poverty by doing, the good work that will enable the East African communities not just live a dignified life, but also build their resilience, the community, to prepare them to address hazards, and especially now that we have a global pandemic all over the world. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you.